Strangely, young Sheldon only handed George S.R. his wildest sitcom storyline in one episode before the supporting character was eventually killed off in the Big Bang Theory spin-off. While every character in Young Sheldon is essential to the show's attraction, Lance Barber's George S.R. has emerged as a particularly well-liked breakout star. It was a pleasant surprise when George S.R. proved to be a good-hearted everyman, since Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory had written off his father as a philandering drunk. Naturally, this just made the audience more difficult to accept his unavoidable demise. Following the Young Sheldon Season 6 finale, everyone was counting down to the terrible death of George S.R. Fans of The Big Bang Theory's canon were aware that Sheldon's father had an affair with his mother and passed away when Sheldon was just a young teenager. The program was unable to delete the latter scene, even though Season 7 was able to rectify the first incident by showing that Sheldon misinterpreted some lighthearted role-playing, although the connection between young Sheldon and his mother, Meemaw, improved in the final moments of George S.R.'s life. Season 7, Episode 12. A new home and a traditional Texas torture nonetheless left viewers in tears. Though the storyline of the previous episode was horribly timed, George S.R.'s death was properly melancholy and heartbreaking. When Mary started feeling like she had baby fever, George S.R. had a covert vasectomy in Season 7, Episode 11, a little snip and teaching old dogs. Attempting to conceal his ailment and using football practice as a pretext for his painful groin, the sickly George S.R. produced some classic comedy slapstick humor. For a family-friendly spin-off, the plotline was hilarious and remarkably risball. But because of the next show, it was revealed just in time. The most depressing episode of young Sheldon's career, a new home and a traditional Texas torture, beat out some fierce competition. Sheldon's struggles with loneliness were highlighted in the Season 2 finale, and there were gloomy moments in several of the episodes starring Paige, Sheldon's former competition who is now a friend. In spite of this, Sheldon and his family's shocking discovery that George S.R. passed away unexpectedly while at work was a devastating blow that the show had never tried before. The young Sheldon death by George S.R. had a dramatic effect. It was problematic since it followed one of the most ridiculous and obscene tales involving the character. Although the young Sheldon subplot would have been more effective in a previous season of the spin-off, George S.R.'s vasectomy plotline was always going to be exceptionally explicit. It would be simple to overlook the fact that George S.R. and Mary are still young enough to possibly become parents again, given that they have a son who is married and has a kid. Much as young Sheldon's Meemaw making fun of George S.R.'s weight a few episodes earlier felt startlingly grim considering his imminent destiny, reminding viewers of this one episode prior to S.R.'s death only served to heighten the moment's sad impact. There is no reason why George S.R.'s covert vasectomy and Meemaw's cruel prank couldn't have occurred in previous episodes of the spin-off. It felt like a strange mistake to include both right before George S.R. passed away because it abruptly changed the series' tone. It's possible that the show might have veered toward a more serious tone prior to George S.R.'s passing, as Season 7 successfully established young Sheldon's future spin-off Georgie and Mandy's first marriage without detracting from its overall aesthetic. Quite the contrary, as the sitcom strangely accomplished. Without any notice, young Sheldon would suddenly swing from cartoonish hilarity and quite somber drama, such as Brenda and Pastor Rob's almost affairs with George S.R., and Mary or Missy's adolescent disobedience. Young Sheldon's oddly ill-timed George S.R. subplot serves as a reminder of the show's ongoing tone issues. With no warning, the show abruptly switched from cartoonish frivolity to very gloomy drama, such as Brenda and Pastor Rob's almost affairs with George S.R., and Mary or Missy's teen's disobedience. Between scenes in a young Sheldon episode, the show occasionally veered unexpectedly from family drama to outrageous humor. The show would break to show Sheldon being tricked by classmates in his college dorm room, just after a heated argument between Mary and George S.R., on suspicions of adultery. While Season 7's previous plots experienced the same problem, George S.R.'s killing of young Sheldon is the most notable example of this phenomena. Missy's misbehaving was addressed as a major problem in the spin-off's 6th season. As a harmless joke in Season 7, Missy hosted a party and got an underage buddy to buy booze. incomparably until a police bust resulted in Meemaw facing harsh penalties for the illegal business. Her gaming room was dismissed as a corny side story long before George S.R. was murdered off by the spin-off of The Big Bang Theory. Young Sheldon grappled with its tone,